This is the analysis portion of the poem The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe that we covered in class on Monday and Tuesday. I will read the poem and then go over the analysis off to the side. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." I have highlighted the possible vocabulary words in yellow for each stanza. And then off to the side, I have provided some notes for you to take that might help with understanding and analysis. So in this first stanza, a curious volume of forgotten lore is pointed towards a book of myths and legends. Forgotten lore is legends and myths, and a volume, of course, would be a book. This stanza has internal rhyme, meaning you have rhymes within the lines itself. We have the consonants of the repeated P. This stanza also sets the setting. Midnight dreary is the point it makes. It brings up imagery of dark and shadows. And by using this setting and tapping into the suspense, we have a ominous or foreboding mood. Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here for evermore. Okay, we have a bleak December, so that demonstrates that it's probably a blizzard. We have a dying ember, so that means the fire is dying. It's not a roaring fire, so it's not putting out quite as much heat as it did. According to what the speaker says, Lenore has died, and he is reading to forget his grief. Remember, anytime you see the word maiden, it means purity and innocence, and it usually refers to an unmarried woman. And we know Lenore has died because they talk about the angels, how the angels named Lenore. And the silken, sad, and certain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now to still the beating of my heart I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Okay, the symbolism of the purple and silk curtains indicate that the speaker is wealthy. We know he has lots of books because he talks about volumes, so he probably has a library, which enhances the wealth factor. We know the speaker is a bit nervous and anxious because here it is in a blizzard in December in the middle of the night and somebody's knocking at his door. So that would make anybody nervous or anxious. He is trying to rationalize the knocking before he actually answers the door. Oh, it's probably some lost traveler that got caught in the storm. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more." In this stanza the speaker is crossing to the door, calling out to the visitor on the other side. He opens the door, and nothing is there but darkness. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore!" Merely this, and nothing more. The speaker is straining to see into the darkness, and fear is getting the best of him, and he's starting to lose control. He opens the door, and nothing is there, and he knows he's heard a knock. So then he whispers her name, as if asking if she is there, and the only thing he hears is the echo of his own voice. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Once again, the speaker is trying to rationalize what he's encountering. He comes back into the room, and he hears knocking again, but this time it's at the window. He's trying to calm himself and tell himself it is only the wind at the window, and that's what's causing the noise. Open here I flung the shutter, and when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yours. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. In this stanza we have a little more action taking place. We have the speaker going to open up the door, and in walks a raven, who is a symbol of death and wisdom in many cultures. And he walks in like he owns the place. He flutters to above the chamber door onto a bust of Pallas. This is a reference to Pallas Athena, who is the goddess of wisdom. The raven has attitude, and it's rather rare for a bird to fly in, and you have, which is a symbol of wisdom, and it perches on a symbol of wisdom. So there's some irony there. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Okay, we have, in this stanza, we have alliteration of G, L, and S. And we have the bird starting to turn the speaker from helping him escape from his grief, into he's almost smiling at the comedy in the situation. He asks the raven who he is, and as if to answer the question, the raven actually speaks the word nevermore, as if to tell him his name is Nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast above the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. Now in this poem, every time something happens, the speaker takes some time to analyze and reflect on what is going on, and he's trying to make sense of what is happening. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. In this stanza, the speaker is muttering to himself, this raven's going to leave me just like my friends, and as if in response, the raven says, nevermore, or no, I won't. So the raven seems to answer the speaker and say he's never leaving. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, who a merciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore. Once again, the speaker is rationalizing and analyzing what's going on. So he's coming to the conclusion that the bird only knows that one word. His previous master was only able to teach him that one word before something happened to the master. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, with this grim, ungainly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking nevermore. So here we have the speaker reflecting on what's going on, and he's staring at the raven trying to figure it out. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. So we learn a few new things about the bird. He has fiery eyes. So obviously the bird has red eyes, so he's almost demon-like. We have alliteration of F and V, and we find out a little more about Lenore. Obviously Lenore was the maid, because who else would be pressing velvet violet cushions? I don't know of anybody who irons their cushions of their chairs. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he has sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Okay, seraphim are the highest order of angels. So he thinks the raven has been sent by God. In fact, he even says, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he has sent thee. Respite means release, and nepenthe is a concoction. It was kind of a sleeping draught. It was liquid that they would drink so that they could fall to sleep easier. So he's asking for relief from his grief and forgetfulness, so he can forget how much it hurts to miss Lenore. And the raven answers that question or answers that comment by saying nevermore. So he's never going to forget Lenore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore. Desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Okay, I'm going to let you analyze this particular stanza. Balm in Gilead is relief from agony. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul within, with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore? Quoth the raven, nevermore. Aidenn is a reference to Eden, or paradise. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the nice Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of the lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws a shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Now you need to analyze the last three stanzas based on what you're reading.